She cleans the floors, no one notices. Yet tonight, she's the only person between a billion-dollar empire and the hush after a siren. The CEO who signs pink slips is slurring his own name. A janitor lifts his chin, asks for a smile. One corner, falls 20 minutes on a cheap watch, and a room of glass forgets how to breathe. Did the company's king nearly fall because no one looked? When the invisible woman refuses to stay invisible, who else gets exposed? Tell me what you'd do in her place, and if courage over titles matters to you, tap like, share this, and subscribe so more voices get seen. The night inside Grant Tower hums like a fridge. Naomi Carter pushes her cart past the conference room, where the city glitters in the windows like spilled nails. The room should be empty. Instead, Lucas Grant clings to the table with his right hand and lets a broken sentence die on his tongue. Naomi pauses, reading the body the way other people read memos. "Sir," she says through the glass, "look at me. No movement." She swipes her master badge, steps into air that smells like toner and old coffee, and lifts his chin with two fingers. "Smile for me." The left muscles cooperate, the right forgets. Naomi raises his arm to shoulder height and lets go. It drops like wet cloth. She's already dialing. 9-1, possible stroke, she tells the dispatcher, voice even. Onset, approximately 20 minutes ago. Facial, droop, slurred speech, right side weakness. She loosens his tie, slides a folded jacket under his head, turns him on his side. "Stay with me, Mr. Grant. Match my count. 4 in, 4 out." A pair of heels skids in the hall. The assistant freezes in the doorway, eyes wide at the toppled chair and the woman in a navy shirt giving orders like a surgeon. "Elevator," Naomi says without looking up. "Clear the service corridor. Call security to hold the doors." The assistant bolts. Lucas tries to speak. What comes out is a wet smear of consonants. Naomi squeezes his shoulder. "Not alone," she says. "You're going to the hospital. You're going to be okay." She scans the room for pills or bottles, snaps a photo of the wall clock for the record, checks the time on her own watch again. The elevator dings. Blue gloves, a rolling stretcher, a breath of cold air. Naomi meets the EMTs at the threshold and hands them the story in clean numbers. When he was last well, what failed first, what still works. The city keeps glittering behind the glass as they lift him, they wheel him into the corridor. Naomi follows, pushing the cart aside, already catching the elevator with her free hand. Doors slide shut, she rides with him. Somewhere below, sirens start their climb. And high above the sleeping streets, a woman no one notices exhales once, squares her shoulders, and refuses to let the night decide how this story ends. Velcro bites across his chest. The stretcher locks to the floor, and the siren pulls a blue thread through the night now. Naomi steadies his head with one palm and her watch with the other. "Last time he was normal about 20 minutes ago," she says, eyes on the second hand. Right-sided weakness, facial droop, slurred speech. Breathing is steady. Da-da-da-da. EMT nods, snaps on a cannula, clips a pulse ox to his finger, calls numbers to the driver. Lucas tries for a word and gets a blur. His eyes find Naomi. He's baffled by this woman in a navy shirt who moves like she's done this before. He swallows. "You're janitor." "I used to run a logistics," Naomi answers, voice low. "Tonight I'm the person in front of you. Stay with me. In, out." She matches his breath. 4 counts in, 4 counts out. "The way you talk to fear until it listens." The rig bumps. Lights smear down the windows. Naomi asks about medications and allergies, signals the EMT too. Check his pockets. They find only a wallet and the folded napkin she gave him fast in blue ink, creased at the corner. It sits there like a promise he almost didn't keep. She presses it into his palm. "You did the right thing." "Blood pressure is elevated," the EMT says. "Airway good, we're 5 out." Naomi relays onset again, makes the minutes. Real, not guesses. She calls out the time on the wall clock, then her watch. And the driver repeats it into the radio, and the hospital answers with a room number. Lucas coughs a laugh that isn't a laugh. Why are you helping me? The vowels drag like a net in shallow water. Because somebody helped me once, Naomi says. She doesn't say when. She doesn't say who. She smooths his tie flat against his shirt and keeps counting. They slide through a red light, and the city opens a vein of empty lanes long enough for a chance. Naomi watches the rise of his chest, the blink of his eyes, the way pride fights even now to sit up and negotiate. She doesn't let him. No deals, she whispers. Just breathing. The bay doors bloom open, cold air rushes in, hands in blue gloves lift. The stretcher unlocks, metal clicks on metal. Naomi walks alongside as they roll, talking in clean, spare sentences. Onset. Symptoms changes, what he could say, what he couldn't, what she saw him do. A nurse writes, "The world smells like bleach in winter. At the threshold a tech reaches." For the chart, Naomi tears a page from her pocket notebook, writes her name and number, and tucks it under the clip. "If they need the timeline, call me," she says. Lucas tries to nod. It looks like a flinch. The doors swallow him, and the sound becomes fluorescent. Naomi stands one breath longer, listening for a wave returning. Then she turns, pockets empty, hands still, and walks back into the night that does not know her name. Morning brings a knock. That doesn't belong to this hallway. A bundle of white lilies leans against a suit without a tie, and Lucas Grant clears his throat before the door even opens. A narrow corridor with flickering light. A place where voices keep themselves small. The chain slides. Eli looks up at a stranger, eyebrows tight. "Who are you?" he asks. "A friend of your mom's," Lucas says. "Careful, is she home?" Naomi appears behind her son, hair in a loose knot, t-shirt soft from washing. "Mr. Grant," says, surprise pressed flat. "How did you?" He lifts the lilies, suddenly boyish. "To say thank you." The chain clicks free. "1 minute," she adds. He steps into a room holding its breath. A tiny table doing double duty as desk. A second-hand bookshelf. A sewing machine with a nicked throat plate. A bin of bandages and a stethoscope. Eli returns to a sketchbook at the table. A cartoon point guard flies toward a hoop. Lucas stands awkwardly with the flowers. The walls carry their own story, a calendar, crowded with shift notes and school pickup times. A sticky note about rent, a magnet holding a late electric bill. On a crooked hook, a frame shows Naomi in a white coat, a diploma ribboned in blue beside it. He angles the frame with 2 fingers, then stops, aware his hands rarely ask permission in rooms like this. "Is your mom a doctor?" he asks Eli, keeping his voice down. Eli shrugs without looking up. "She says paper matters, unless folks decide not to read it. Then it's just paper. People at her work think ladies like her only know mops. But Mom knows how to make hearts stop being scared." Naomi returns with 2 glasses, notices the lilies, the frame, and the way Lucas isn't filling the air with company words. She sets the glasses down. "Thank you for the flowers," she says, businesslike. He nods, not quite trusting his voice. If he says what the room makes him see competence, living in small spaces, he might owe something he can't expense. Eli breaks the pause like it's a stick. "On Fridays we get fries by the river," he tells Lucas. "If you want to say, thank you, you can come." Naomi starts to protest Eli, but the boy is already smiling toward her, counting the offer as victory. Lucas manages a smile unlike his press photos. "I'd like that," he says. He sets the lilies in Naomi's hands, backing toward the door, so the minute keeps its promise. "I'm grateful," he adds, the word quieter than expected. The door shuts softly. Beyond it, lilies tilt in a jar that once held spaghetti sauce. Naomi touches the blue ribbon on the diploma, then mends a backpack strap. The day has a shift to finish. The river has a table with fries waiting. The diner by the river sounds like a radio left on in another room, jazz just soft enough to make the ketchup shine. Eli claims the booth by the window and lines up fries like free throws. Naomi slides. In across from him, still in the plain shirt that doesn't apologize for work. A minute later, Lucas appears with an awkward smile that tries not to be a win. And for once he looks like a man without a stage. The server pours coffee. Naomi says grace in a whisper only Eli can hear. When she looks up, Lucas is already watching. The river? He clears his throat. Thank you for meeting me. It's Friday, Eli says through a grin. Fries are a rule. Naomi answers the question he hasn't asked. I ran nights at an ER, she says. Built rosters, moved people when calls stacked, found beds when there weren't any. I left when Eli needed me more than the hospital did. Duh. Lucas nods, fingers tracing the rim of his cup. For months I've had headaches, he admits, and sometimes the words fuzz out. Patterson keeps telling me it's stress. Naomi pulls a napkin toward her and writes fast in block letters. Face, arm, speech, time. She folds the napkin once, twice, until it is a small square with purpose. If it hits again, you go, she says. No bargaining with schedules or investors. You go. Eli studies his mother's hands. You look scared that night, he says quietly. She doesn't deny it. She taps the napkin, then slips it across to Lucas. He tucks it into his wallet. May I ask something? He says. With your degree and all that skill, why are you? Naomi's eyes hold his, steady as a metronome. That's a question for your hiring people, she says. Gentle but stainless. Not for me. The jazz hovers. A man in a Grant Corp badge passes the window, glances in, lifts a phone to his ear. Lucas sees the reflection, chooses silence, and chooses to remember. Plates arrive. The diner smells like lemon and heat. Eli dips a fry, announces. That the river looks like it's racing the clouds, and the table laughs because the truth is allowed to be simple sometimes. Lucas eats slowly, listening as Naomi asks Eli about spelling lists and a science poster made from cereal boxes. There's a steadiness here. He doesn't know how to inventory. When it's time to go, Naomi reaches for the check, and Lucas shakes his head. Please, he says, let me. He thanks her again, not for the meal, but for the square of paper. He can feel warm against his wallet. They part on the sidewalk with a promise not to make promises. The river keeps moving. So does the breath that counts itself in and out, waiting to be needed. Behind them, boats slide past the pier, and a gull skims the surface, ordinary, steadily. Like the day deciding to keep going, Tuesday turns the boardroom into a stage. Red light over the camera, tickers crawling like ants along a far screen, and Lucas Grant's voice threading numbers through a room that hates silence. Naomi polishes the glass outside, one hand steady, the other finding fingerprints the morning mist. She doesn't need the chart to know something's wrong. Here's it first, the vowel that slips, the consonant that won't land. Inside, Lucas blinks hard, tightens his jaw, grips a laser pointer too long. The room pretends not to notice. Investors never love the truth when it walks in by itself. The sentence cracks. His right hand sags at his side. Naomi steps through. The side door, the way water finds a seam. She touches the mic panel, kills the audio feed with a soft click, and sets the pointer down like it's hot. Mr. Grant, she says, voice low, look at me. What? The right corner of his mouth lags behind the left. She raises his arm and lets go. Gravity does what it always does. The assistant freezes, lips shaping a question that doesn't matter. Naomi doesn't look at her. Cut to the standby title. Announce a transition to off-site Q&A. She's already loosening Lucas's tie, already turning him slightly in the chair, so air gets where it needs to go. He tries to object, words melting, pride reaching for the wheel he can't grip. No hospital. He forces out. Bored off-site. Naomi answers, "You're leaving the room." That's the headline. She checks the wall clock, then her watch, twin witnesses that won't lie for anyone. Stand if you can. Lean on me if you can't. They move as a single thing, the kind built in emergencies, one person lending another person their balance. The door to the corridor inhales cold air. Naomi steers him past the main elevator banks where faces would bloom questions and toward the freight elevator that smells like detergent and cardboard. Her master badge wakes the reader with a green blink. The doors slide open and swallow them both. In the square of quiet, Lucas swallows and tries again. If this gets out, the sentence phrase. Naomi presses the emergency service button. watches the numbers descend. "Breathe," she says. In, out. The elevator hums. Somewhere above them, 100 eyes keep pretending. But here, it's just two people getting the job done. At the loading dock, delivery trucks idle like resting animals. Naomi flags a security cart with a nod and a look that means don't ask. Just drive. She seats Lucas, pockets his dropped cufflink, and pulls her phone. "Dr. Maya Benson, Midtown Medical," she says into the receiver. "We're inbound, possible ischemic event, onset under an hour. Request discreet entry through staff garage." The voice on the other end says a room number that feels like a door opening. The cart noses into the employee lot. Naomi helps him. Into her old sedan, belts him in, and checks his breathing one more time. "No press," she promises, closing the door with a practiced hand. "No show, just care." The car glides onto the service road, city rolling past a blur of glass. And chance-while, the building behind them keeps shining for people who didn't see a thing. The staff garage takes them in quietly. Naomi cuts the engine, checks his breath, and walks him past vending machines to a door that opens with a buzz. In the corridor, a nurse meets them with a wheelchair and questions. Naomi answers with clean time stomps, the kind that make rooms. "Move faster." Lucas keeps one hand on the folded napkin in his pocket. Imaging comes first. The tech tapes a sensor to his finger, slides him into a tube that hums like a held note. Naomi stands behind the glass, arms folded, watching the screen draw its quiet map. She remembers other midnights, other corridors, and refuses to let the memory talk louder than the moment. When the door opens, Dr. Maya Benson is already there, calm eyes, sleeves pushed up, a pencil behind one ear. She nods to Naomi like someone recognizing another professional in street clothes, then steers them into the reading room where the world is light and shadow. On the monitor, Gray turns to geography. Benson points with the pencil. "These," she says, "are not new. Small white flecks cluster like salt across the cortex. Older bruises no one named." Lucas holds his breath. "Months," Benson adds, toggling views. "Maybe longer," he swallows. "Patterson said I was fine." Benson opens a lab panel. Numbers arrange themselves in two columns that look too polite. She scrolls. The totals repeat on a neat cadence, like a copy machine that learned to whistle. She switches the reference ranges, checks the analyzer ID. "Your labs are tidy," she says. "Too tidy. Same patterns, different days. And these range is wrong set for this machine." Naomi steps closer, reading the room and the screen. "At once? What do you need to prove it?" "Original outputs from the analyzer. Printer histories, appointment logs. Chain of custody on samples." Benson prints a one-page list. The printer coughs the page out. Benson underlines 2 items. Taps the margin, makes it practical. Naomi takes it without flinching. She knows where buildings keep their secrets. Locked shred bins that get swapped at midnight. Badge readers that store who touched what and when. Servers that remember every print job longer than the people who sent them. The habits come back. Like muscle, Lucas looks from one woman to the other, words snagging. "This is true," he exhales, a thin sound, then nods only once. "It's already true," Benson says. "What we gather will make it undeniable." Naomi folds the list and sets it in her pocket beside her phone. "I can get you paper," she says, "in time." She pockets the pencil list like a mission brief. Benson nods, scribbles a room number, and hands it to Lucas. "We'll watch you here tonight." The hallway smells like disinfectant and rain. Naomi presses the elevator button and studies her reflection in the steel. No cape, no badge that means anything outside a clock. Just a woman who knows where the bins are, and how to listen when a body talks. Grant Tower is a different animal after midnight. The lobby polish goes dull, elevators breathe slower, and cameras blink like sleepy eyes. Naomi badges in with a nod the night guard trusts, moves without hurry, cart rattling softly. A bottle of cleaner ticking the mop handle. On the record's floor, the lights are the color of old lemons. Doors that argue by day, give up at night. Naomi rolls to the locked shred bins and palms the master key she shouldn't have, but does. The lid lifts with a hollow sigh. Inside, confetti. The company's memory cut to pieces. She lays a liner. On the tile, tips the bag over, and kneels. Tape on one wrist. Phone set to timestamp on the other. The first handful is nonsense headers, page numbers, a logo corner. She sorts by paper weight, by grain. Edges begin to find edges. Table. Emerges. A name. Then numbers 2 pages click together, under clear, tape-lipped panel, triglycerides, cholesterol ugly, in one copy. Politely normal in another. Both wear Dr. Patterson's electronic signature like a borrowed coat. Naomi photographs each. Seam, each alignment. The way you'd photograph a bruise someone swore wasn't there. A narrow strip she almost misses carries. A subject line, succession stability, optics must be preserved. Below, talking points, and the CC field where names sit like fingerprints. Victor Hale is one of them. Naomi exhales through her nose. Not victory, just confirmation. She bags the reconstructed pages, slips them into a manila envelope, and wheels to the printer nook. The admin panel wakes under her fingers. History spills a spine of entries. Time, user, job length. She scrolls to the week of Lucas's routine exam. There it is, 10 minutes before his appointment, a print job from Hale's assistant. Page count matching the fake. She screenshots the log, then prints it and marks the line. Her phone buzzes. An email from HR blooms like frost. Subject: Notice of policy violation, mandatory meeting 9 a.m. She opens the header. The creation time predates tonight by hours. The trap was built before she ever touched a lock. Naomi copies everything to a cheap USB in a burner Gmail she made the day Eli started school. She tucks the USB into the hem of her shoe, tapes the envelope to the underside of the cart, wipes the tile until it looks like only bleach has been here. She takes one last sweep of the bin with a gloved hand and finds nothing else useful. Fear nudges her ribs once, rehearsing the worst version of morning. Then it passes, replaced by the quiet she remembers from triage. You don't outrun a storm, you prepare the room. In the break room, she fills a paper cup and sets 2 alarms, one to wake, one to leave. She writes 3 words on her palm with a Sharpie. Who, when, why. The cart rattles as she pushes toward the elevator. Upstairs, behind glass, the day crew will decide what story to tell. Naomi decides to bring her own pages. 9 a.m. makes the building loud again. Naomi carries a manila envelope like it's just paper, not the night rearranged. The HR conference room smells like lemon wipes and cold coffee. A neat stack waits. At her chair, policy printouts, a pen that clicks. Across the table, the HR lead offers a professional smile that never reaches the eyes. Beside him, Victor Hale studies a cuticle and lets the silence do the talking. Ms. Carter.
Access to protected files.
The lead begins, voice smooth as laminated plastic. Per policy? The door opens exactly on per policy. Lucas Grant steps in, tie straight, eyes not interested in anyone's performance. He takes in the table like a man reading a radar screen, lifts the memo with the phrase succession stability, optics must be preserved, and something hardens. Behind his expression, Naomi sets the envelope down and opens it. Tape lines glint under fluorescent light. 2 lab panels lie side by side, one ugly, one polite, both signed by Dr. Patterson. Photos with timestamps follow. She keeps her voice low enough to stay calm and high enough to carry. This is the patient's truth. This is the story someone preferred. Ale leans back. People in certain roles can't understand context, he says. Warm as a winter sun, Naomi slides a second printout across a screenshot from the printer history circles. In ink around a job sent 10 minutes before a routine exam. User line naming Hale's assistant. Then, a third sheet. The email summoning her to this meeting. Header expanded. Creation time stamped long before her badge ever touched a lock. If I had said nothing, she adds, your chief could be dead. Stop this write-up, Lucas, tells HR. Effective now. The pen that was meant to sign a termination freezes midair. The HR lead clears his throat, checks the room, and nods. Noted. Lucas gathers the reconstructed pages, the printer log, the email header. Make copies, he says, all of it, and secure them. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't. Need to dot, Naomi breathes once and tucks an extra set back into the envelope for herself. When she stands, the chair legs whisper across carpet. No victory lap. Just the next breath, the next hallway, and the quiet knowledge that the story in this building has changed its narrator. Outside, morning traffic mutters. Inside, the room exhales again. The studio smells like hairspray and cold lights. Skyline burns on a fake window, and a red tally glows. Lucas sits under it, jacket sharp, face unvarnished. The anchor gives him the soft runway, then asks what happened in that glass room high above Atlanta. Lucas doesn't reach for spin. A janitor saved my life, he says, letting the word land. Naomi Carter saw what others ignored. Somewhere servers hum as if they've been waiting to agree. They cut to Naomi beside him, not dressed for TV, not interested in it. She looks into the lens the way she looks at a pulse. We count time, she says. We watch signs. We don't look away. No slogans. Just facts that know how to stand up alone. Phones start to light like fish at night. Hashtag she sought slides. Across home screens, then stacks. Inside Grant Corp's town hall stream, the chat window blinks open flood. A chemist typing about a project credit that vanished. A guard talking about a shortcut that saved a life. A receptionist writing the word finally. The feed hiccups under the weight of people saying the quiet parts on company time. Across town, another camera finds Victor Hale. He smiles without warmth and names the accusations misinterpretations. Then repeats a phrase he thinks sounds like leadership, succession, stability. The word pair floats on air long enough for reporters to drag a net through archives and catch Naomi's taped-together memo with the same phrasing, same punctuation, same perfume of careful lying. A. Producer pushes a monitor toward the anchor. Another window pops. Dr. Patterson framed by a strip mall office plant, collar uneven, eyes losing their war with fatigue. He doesn't bother with fog. He holds up a folder, shakes out printouts like a penitent sorting laundry version histories. Altered ranges, transfers labeled consulting that look like money taught to dress as advice. His voice is low and flat. I changed what I shouldn't have. The newsroom swallows the syllables. The control room counts to break. Duckus doesn't. Take a victory breath. Naomi doesn't move at all. The red light dies. Cameras blink to stand by. Phones refuse to sleep. Reporters call the number on the clip Naomi left in HR. An agent with a patient tone leaves a message requesting documents. A door somewhere slides open because a hinge decides to. Outside, a bus sighs. Inside, the city's reflection ripples. Across his studio floor, and a woman who cleans other people's stories stands still long enough for her own to be heard. Grant. Tower's lobby is all glass and murmurs when the agents walk Hale past the security desk. Cameras peck the air like birds. Lights pop once, twice, and the doors close on suits and wrists, and a man who ran out of ways to explain. The building exhales. Screens in the atrium flip from stock tickers to a memo with 3 lines, independent. Medical oversight, anti-bias enforcement, an internal pathway from hourly roles into operations. People stop. Someone claps once, then again, till it becomes safe to breathe in public. Naomi stands at the edge of the marble, holding nothing but her badge. Lucas crosses the floor without ceremony. No press, no handlers, just an envelope that looks heavier than paper. For you, he says. She doesn't take it yet. What is it, a job, he answers. Private secretary to the CEO, if you'll have it. His voice is even, like a bridge made for weight. She accepts the envelope the way a diver accepts air. The print shows her name spelled right. Thank you, she says, and it is not small. Come with me, she adds. Someone else gets a say. They walk to the little park near Eli's school, where afternoons smell like cut grass and pencil. Shavings. Eli is the first to spot them, soccer ball thumping his shoe. He runs over, skids, and the lace whips loose. Lucas is already kneeling. Permission? he asks. Eli nods. Fingers find the loop, then another the knot holds. There, Lucas says, and only then looks up. Eli studies the envelope in his mother's hand. Is that important? Could be, Naomi says. It means I'd work closer to Mr. Grant. Different hours. Different everything. Eli's mouth makes the shape of maybe. He turns to Lucas. Are you going to make my mom smile more than she already does? Lucas doesn't rehearse. I'll listen. I'll learn. I'll try every day. The words land without polish. Eli checks his mother's face, then shrugs a smile into existence. We can try, he says. Naomi slides the envelope into her bag. Not yes, not no. A door left open on purpose. The ball rolls to Lucas's foot. He taps it back to Eli, who lunges and laughs like the world has decided to keep turning. Gold light, a caption writes itself across the grass. When a room says you don't belong, let your work answer, then make space for the next person.